It's probably because of, bro, I was joining a Discord channel. I was joining a Discord voice channel, right? So I think the mic was off. Bro, fuck this. I'm just gonna continue to read this. Okay, I don't know if my voice is being heard before or not, but I'm just gonna summarize everything, okay? Chapter number 35, we were going about the title, You Are Always Searching for Freedom, about how we as a masculine man, we are always seeking for freedom from constraint, whether from bad habits like vaping or from like good stuff like achieving success at work or even some really dark times like war. We are always seeking our motivation is through like seeking for freedom itself. It's like our motivation as a masculine man is to seek freedom. It can be as exciting as like playing sports and winning it. And then that is when men cheer, men shout and cheer, celebrate. Because this is creating intense emotion in men, seeking for freedom. Just as the way it creates intense emotion in women when they're watching like love stories. When they're like watching love story movies and all that. So this is part 5, the dark side, your dark side. And we're gonna complete in this life. This is like a challenge that I've set for myself. Because this goal for October is to finish reading this book, okay? My goal for this is to finish reading this book. Yo, for whoever is watching, yo, hello. I need to turn on the brightness, man. I can't even see the name and all that. Yo, Kathleen, can you hear my voice? Because earlier the audio is turned off, so I was wondering if anyone could hear my voice. Okay, someone just left. Fine, fine. So where was I? The goal for October is to finish this book, okay? Finish reading this book, and with my calculations, I realized that I need to finish chapter 5, chapter 36, 37, 38, 39 by this session. So that is what we're doing. Good stuff, good stuff. And it is also saying how the typical masculine desire for freedom involves a feeling of death. Because all these small freedom that we're facing, it's almost like little. It's not even significant as to compare to the greater form of freedom, which is death itself. The typical masculine desire for freedom involves the feeling of death, which is the ultimate masculine fear and freedom in one way or the other. Orgasm is actually called petite mort or little death in French. The same capacity to face death. Wait, where am I? Where am I? The same capacity to face death is necessary for spiritual freedom, to live free in spirit. You must be willing to face your fears and let go of anything that limits your love. As I've said, the way of the superior man talks about the spiritual side of things, yourself, your practices, and also love and relationship, polarization of the masculine and feminine. And I've learned a lot, not gonna lie. I've never expected to learn so much from this book, but reading these chapters and also not just reading it, but like explaining it, coming in front of the camera, or also like my voice channel on Discord, coming in front of that and explaining it in my own understanding, that gave me like 2x, that 2x my understanding of this book. Shay, my third lips each. Third lips. What's the third? What's the third lips? What the fuck? I hope that's not something weird, bro. The attachment to comfort and security is what limits most men in their capacity to make a spiritual touchdown. The attachment to comfort. The other team, the other team is your own need for private security. You are fighting a war with your own sense, with your own self, with your own self sense. To be free is to die to your need to be a separate self. What then could be constrained? Ego death, absolute surrender to the point of oneness, is the ultimate freedom. Ego death is the ultimate freedom. It talks about a separate self and then fighting a war with your own self sense. That is more next level spiritual shit, bro. But I understand ego death. Ego death is like essentially a death of your ego. You know, we have an ego for us that we are the center of the universe and that everything is should like be aligned to our own desires. That everything should happen to us, but it's like that rarely happens in this world. So it's like having an ego death, the absolute surrender to the point of oneness, to whatever it is the ultimate freedom. To whatever you may be doing, once your ego is dead, that is the ultimate freedom. Because at that point there is no constraint, there is no expectation that is constraining you, there is no fears that is constraining you. All of these thoughts, all of these fears that you have, that is dead along with ego. And that in and of itself is the ultimate freedom. Few men ever release themselves enough. Few men ever release themselves enough to relax in this depth of freedom because they are afraid of absolutely no stress. Most men are afraid of freedom. Most men are afraid of this depth of freedom. The ego death. They are afraid of the ego death because they are afraid of absolutely no stress. No stress means no thoughts, right? Because no stress means no thoughts, okay? No sense of protected self. No ego. No mission to accomplish. The end of the masculine game. Bro, it's like ego that is the ultimate freedom, and few men are ever releasing themselves enough to relax in this depth of freedom, of ego death. Because they are afraid of stress. Because they are afraid of having no stress. Okay. It's like one of those lines in a book where you have to interpret it, like where you have to read it on and on again, especially those golden lines in a book, which you have to think about deeply because those are the ones that really brings a mindset change, mindset shift in you. No mission to accomplish is the end of the masculine game. Okay, that is understandable. Yet, okay, it is explaining here. Yet, this stress free, unprotected end of the game is exactly what you are always seeking. You are afraid of it. You don't want to relax in this because you are afraid of no stress, but yet, this having no stress moment is exactly what you are always seeking. Okay, that is what we are seeking. Yet, we are afraid of it. Okay, we are always seeking how? Through orgasm, through financial killings, through spending a lot of money, through financial killings, or winning a war. You're you're willing to experience lesser forms of masculine death, of freedom, lesser forms of freedom and ecstasy, but you are unwilling to face death of your separate self sense. Okay, previously I've talked about how the main ultimate freedom is death, but it is not actually death, it is ego death. Okay, the separate sense self, which I was confused about earlier, was the ego. So it is like your willingness to face your death of your ego is the ultimate freedom. And finally, be the freedom. Okay? You are seeking all this small freedom, but you are unwilling to face the main freedom, which is ego death. And finally, be the freedom you always allowed yourself to taste in just moments. Men will always enjoy facing form of death and coming out to the other side into freedom, whether in the form of boxing matches, cop movies, martial arts, orgasm, philosophy, or ego death. You know, philosophy, the way of releasing through philosophy is the stress releasing aha moment of insight. You must own the privacy of your own desire to be free, or it is primacy. You must own the primacy of your desire to be free. You must embrace this need that you have, the desire to be free. You must own it. Then only you can enjoy the lesser forms of masculine ecstasy. But dedicate yourself to its highest form, which is the transcendence of the fear of death by facing the limiting stress of your own self sense and relaxing through it, through your ego, into the absolute freedom you have always intuited at your core, but sought only through temporary means. You've always wanted the big stuff. You've always wanted the ultimate freedom, but you have always seek that, the ultimate freedom, through some small temporary means, through some means where it's just like momentary means. Okay, the feminine, on the other hand, is not seeking freedom, but love. Okay, so here you are, a masculine man seeking freedom through release from constraints. And for the feminine women, though, for any women, it is majority of the women, it is not seeking freedom. It is not seeking freedom just like the masculine, but it is seeking love. A woman's bliss is not in emptiness, but in fullness. So we have our way of releasing is from constraint, right? Our way is to get empty. All this constraint is building up, filling ourselves, and then the way we get our freedom is by emptying those stress, by releasing, having a form of freedom through jerking off or through business success or winning a war or winning a football match. For the feminine, it is to be filled. It is to be filled. For us, is to be released. For us, is to be empty. But for the feminine, it is to be filled with what? With love, with your presence, with your direction as a masculine man, which is mentioned in this book very explained, in a very explained way. Her means is not release, but to surrender. This is why a woman is upset when a man begins snoring after orgasm. He has finally achieved his like blissful freedom from the stress he has been seeking all day, one way or the other. She, however, is hoping to experience love and fullness through sex. And a snoring man that doesn't just do it for her. The feminine seeks fullness and abhors emptiness. She will fill her empty selves with knickknacks, seashells, and pebbles collected from special places. She's always looking to be filled, okay? And she does not need, okay, when she does not feel full of love, when she's not feeling like she is full of love, she seeks to fill herself with ice cream, chocolate, or conversations, rather than emptying her stress through TV or ejaculation, just like men do. Her dark side, okay, so we're talking about our dark side as seeking freedom, but now her dark side enjoys the emotional aggression in soap operas, in those drama movies and romance novels, rather than the physical aggression, okay, just excuse me, of boxing matches and porn, bro. Physical okay. Her dark side enjoys the emotional aggression from like romance novels and soap operas, but our dark side enjoys the physical aggression, not emotional aggression. We masculine men, we love physical aggression of boxing matches, and it is written here porno movies. But I think it's your choice after all. You can choose to watch porn and release your fulfill your dark side of like physical aggression need through watching porn or through boxing matches or going yourself in that moment, getting a girl and having sex, or through like playing boxing itself. One way or the other, you always seek freedom. That is your primary motivation as a man. She longs to fill her sense of spiritual emptiness by surrendering her heart and being filled with love. Her basic means towards spirituality is surrender into the devotional fullness of unbounded love. Her basic means towards spiritual unity, okay? Spiritual unity is surrender to the devotional fullness of unbounded love. rather than breaking through the fear of ego death just as men do into the unconstrained infinity of absolute freedom. Absolute freedom. You know, these words are so next level. Like breaking through the fear of ego death into the unconstrained infinity of absolute freedom. It's like next level shits, man. That is why I love this book. It really introduces me to new words, new way of writing sentence, and a new way of reading. That new way is more like the spiritual way. In the end, the feminine search for love and the masculine search for freedom reach the same destination. Okay, here is a woman searching for love, here's a man searching for freedom. They reach the same destination. Oh, polarity, which is the destination. The destination is the unbounded and infinite ground of being who you are, which is absolute love and freedom. But until you relax into the place you always are, your women will continue to surrender to you, chocolate, and shopping in the hope of being filled with love, and you will continue to release yourself through television, orgasm, financial success, in the hope of being emptied of stress into unconstrained freedom. This reminds me of the fact that I'm talking about like your habits that you do are a cope for your lifestyle. Why do you meditate? Because you want to be mindful. You will have a reason to do everything. Why do you do bad habits? Majority of the time, it's because you want to release the stress. It's because you have a shitty life. Because if you had a good, fucking great life and you feel fulfilled, then you wouldn't be doing bad habits. But that is not always the case, right? You are not always gonna be fulfilled. You are not always gonna have a perfect life. So bad habit is very common here. Releasing stress. But it's the way you do it. How do you release your stress? Is it through working? Is it through working out? Or is it through fapping? Because there are a section of men who will release stress through fapping, and there are a section of men who will release through like working out, getting a heart pump at the gym, and then hitting the PR with the boys. Different ways. But until you finally relax into the place you always are, until you do that, your women will continue to surrender to you, chocolate, and shopping in the hope of being filled with love. And you will always continue to release yourself through television, orgasm, and financial success, hoping of being emptied of stress to unconstrained freedom. You're always seeking freedom, she is always seeking to be filled. Okay. Gotta move our body sometimes. Sitting for a very long time. Gotta move our body sometimes. This is a release for stress. This is a release from stress. My way of release. Stretching. Bro, my body is sore as fuck from yesterday's workout. Like my shoulders are paining because I like sprinted yesterday, so gotta get my shoulders to be more flexible. My legs aren't sore, it's just my shoulders that are like very sore after sprinting for 6 sets up the hill. It's like 7, 8 sets total actually. Okay, chapter number 36. We're just like one out of 4. 1/4 of the journey is done. Now only 3 chapters is left. Chapter number 36. Own your darkest desires. Own your darkest desires. Own your darkest desires. Whatever your desires are, just own it. I have the idea. Like whenever you're reading the title of the chapters, you always have like a rough idea of what the chapter is gonna be about. Own your darkest desire. What about you? What do you think about this? Own your darkest desire. It's to own your dark side's desire, which is gonna be weird, which is gonna be unexpected and not so civil. Like that people expect us to be. It's like our dark side. And I think movies really portrays this. American Psycho, Joker, all these psychos are like their dark side is living to their fullest, and then men relate to this because being owning our dark side, being in a state where we own our dark side, that usually means that we are like outcasts of the society, because most of the time our dark side has like fucked up desires. Sometimes we want to fuck a lot of women, and if we do, we're like weird, considered an outcast from the society. If a man disowns his dark masculine desire for freedom, then he kings the horse of his masculine force. His energy will not flow freely, and his attention will be bound by unfulfilled yearnings. Most importantly, if his horse is kinked this way, he weakens his masculine capacity to stand fearless in the death that is conscious life. He will not be able to face the unknown, the groundless ground of being, and still function from his heart in love. When a woman, when a man, okay, for a woman, is different for a woman, but for a man, when a man disowns and suppresses his dark masculine desire for freedom, then he lives a shell of a man. He's not living up to his potential. His energy doesn't flow freely, always distracted, always having his attention distracted by desires that are like unfulfilled yearnings. When was the last time you have really ravished your women? That is, when was the last time you really took her savagely, lovingly, with no inhibition whatsoever? Or has it been so long that you are fascinated and even turned on by rape scenes on TV or in the movies? It is asking us when was the last time we really ravished our women. But it's like, for you viewers, it's like most of us are single. I'm single. But I'm still reading this so that I can have a good understanding of the way of the superior man itself, and the way I can navigate my life through my purpose, my way of living, dealing with women, polarities in relationship. Wisdom. A lot of wisdom from this book. When you are unable to express your dark passion with love, then they go underground in your psyche. Your dark desires become disconnected from your heart. Instead of being moved to embrace your women with masculine force and aggressive passion, throwing her down the bed, ripping her clothes off, and pinning her down beneath your body as you both yield yourself into an ecstatic loving. You begin to fantasize about controlling and dominating women in unloving ways. Okay, this is like specifically for couples, I guess, because it involves like making love. Bro, this ravishing thingy is like really dominating and controlling kind of shits, man. I think this is the result of having a polarized relationship. If the couples like it, throwing her down the bed, ripping her clothes off, pinning her down beneath your body as you yield yourself in ecstatic loving. Instead of that, you are gonna be fantasizing about controlling and women in unloving ways once you are disconnected from your heart, from your deepest desires. That desire to ravish, yeah. The desire to ravish is the sexual aspect of the same masculine desire that wants to break through opponents on a basketball court. That is the same desire. The desire to ravish your women, that is the same fucking desire that wants to break through opponents in a basketball game. Break through philosophical barriers to intellectual insights, or break through the fear of death into spiritual freedom. The desire to ravish is the desire to break through a woman's resistances, to open her heart and body into ecstatic loving. The pleasure is in releasing her from all the conventional restraints from her psyche, so that she has no choice but to surrender in love. Okay, your job as a man is to release her, open her heart and body so that she can relax in your love, so that she can have no choice but to surrender in your love. Of course, do this in a, you know, loving, ravishing way with aggressive passion. We're talking about passion here, not just aggressive and dominating and like those rape situations. This is like ravish love, aggressive passion. Because passion, I heard from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, passion is anger and love combined. Anger and love combined. When this masculine desire to ravish becomes suppressed from your heart, disconnected, disassociated from your heart, then you will settle for breaking through a woman's resistance without love, through violence or coercion. 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 What the fuck is that word? Another new word, eh? Although few men will readily admit it, most men have entertained fantasies about forcing a woman to have sex against her will. Okay, that is some dark side shits. Because, not gonna lie, we just gotta accept it, right? Chances are, even you have entertained the fantasies of being forced to have sex with a woman, to force a woman to have sex against her will. Like, we wouldn't do that in actuality, but we have entertained that fantasy. Of course, of course. Dark side. In fact, this is not even to say that we are bad people or anything, because these are natural stuff. If you are any of a masculine man with testosterone between your balls, then you have probably entertained this thought because of your dark side. And for you to suppress this desire, is to like leave a shell of your man yourself. Now, I'm not telling you to act on those desires to force a woman to have sex against her will. That's like raping women. But channel that energy, the same desire throughout your body, because this desire to ravish a woman is the same desire that wants you to like win a basketball match. So there are a lot of ways to do sexual transmutation. That is the word, transmuting this sexual energy. And I've talked about that on my previous videos, so I'm not gonna mention this again, how you can do that. In fact, most women have entertained fucking shit. Fucking shit. This is some fucking red pill content. Black pill, red pill shits. In fact, okay, let me first say this like continuously, okay? Although few men will readily admit it, most men have entertained fantasies about forcing a woman to have sex against her will. In fact, most women have entertained fantasies about being forced to have sex against her will. Is that true? Because I've read about the male advantage, and it also talks about how most women, like 80, I think it was like 70, 60%, 80% of women entertain to like the fantasies to be forced to have sex against their will, like rape scenarios. The dark feminine desire to be forced to surrender is as strong as the dark masculine desire to penetrate through a woman's resistance. The difference between rape and ravishment, though, is love. This is exactly what it is. The difference between rape and ravishment is love. Both are still aggressive with passion. Both are still consisting of a man penetrating through her women's resistance against her will, having sex, and then but the difference is love. You do it lovingly. And how do you do that? It is only when you own your darkest desires, when your deepest, darkest self, that you are able to live in a loving way for your women. But when you are not, when you're suppressing your dark desires, and when you're living a shell of a man yourself, then you still penetrate through a woman's resistance, but in a more of a non-loving way. Your women surrendering to receive your strong love, or you're lovingly forcing your women to surrender into greater ecstasy, is the basis of ravishment. Lovingly forcing your women, okay? Exactly what it is said here. When you are unwilling to play these dark masculine and feminine poles of love and humor, then they will appear in loveless way, such as rape fantasies, obsession with soap operas, those drama movies, drama serials, episodes with episodes and all that, tragic stories of loss and brutality, and violent pornography. Let me say that again, man. This is something to learn. When you are unwilling to play these dark desires, dark masculine and feminine poles in love and humor, when you can do that, when you can fulfill that desires of dark feminine and from the dark masculine and feminine core, when you can do that in a way which is loving and humorous, they will appear in a loveless way, where there is no love as where is no where there is no love at all, such as rape fantasies, obsession with soap operas, tragic stories of loss and brutality, and violent pornography. Sexual energy is at the root. Okay, what did I just do? Sexual energy is at the root of your bodily force, of life, and your relationship to ravishment reveals your relationship to life altogether. This is also true for your women. If your woman is afraid to surrender completely and receive your loving in all of her parts, she will also be afraid to surrender completely and receiving the loving of the divine, true and through her. Hmm. How you deal with your women is how you deal with the world. Just the way how you deal your relationship, your how do you deal with it? That depends on how you deal with the relationship with your life altogether. This is also like true for women. They have their own relatability. Like if a woman is afraid to surrender, that relates to her being afraid to receive the loving from the divine, from the Almighty God, true and through her. She will feel essentially empty, not being filled, right? Because the feminine desire is to be filled, but she will feel essentially empty. So seek to be filled, and so seek to be filled with love of food, shopping, social events, and conversations. When she is not filled, then she will find ways to fill herself: food, shopping, social events, conversations. If you are afraid to yield yourself completely in the ecstasy of physical love with your women, going beyond all sense of okay, this is like making love again, about the section of making love. Oh, I've been talking for a very long time. It's like my throat is getting dry. I'm also like leaning beyond my age by doing this, because I usually started with 3 chapters per day, 2 chapters per day, 1 chapter even sometimes. But this today in this session, I'm gonna cover like 4 chapters continuously. If you are afraid to yield yourself completely in the ecstasy of physical love with your women, which is going beyond all sense of control and your ego self, so your heart and her heart are one in the midst of absolutely abundant passion, then you will also be afraid to yield yourself completely in divine freedom. If you're afraid to yield yourself in love with your women, then you will be afraid to yield yourself into divine freedom, into the ultimate freedom. You will grasp onto your sense of self and control instead of yielding through your fears into the boundless, unknowable infinity of existence. It is more to do with ego. If you keep on grasping to your ego and having the fear to yield into the boundless freedom, that means you have a fear into the unknowable infinity of existence, which you could have gotten if you weren't afraid. You will feel full in your own tension. And so attempt to empty yourself in the conventional masculine habits of TV, ejaculation, and work. So it's like the mediocre way of releasing our masculine tension is through like ejaculation, jerking off, watching TV, and working. Nowadays, watching TV is like we watch it from YouTube and all that. We watch YouTube shorts, short form content, dopamine after dopamine, instead of learning something new like this one, like watching a live stream of a person talk about the wisdom from the book of experienced men. Next paragraph it says, you must learn to let go. Absolutely in love with your women. Unless you choose to live with your life as a celibate, which means as a person without balls, like your testicles are cut off, right? Those are called celibate. Unless you're living your life as those type of people, there is no way around this. You cannot escape this. You must learn to let go in love with your women. You must be as fearless with your sexual desire as you are with your spiritual desire. The essential masculine fear is loss of self, which is also the essential masculine desire. Okay, you fear and desire the same thing, the loss of self, the ego death. So if you are like most men, you are willing to lose yourself in uncontrollable. Okay, I mean, let me say that again. Yeah. So if you are like most men, you are willing to lose yourself in controllable ways like sports, newspaper, orgasm, but you remain fearful of losing yourself at the same time. You desire to lose yourself, but you fear to lose yourself at the same time. But you remain fearful to losing yourself for real, in love, ecstasy with your women, surrendered in the unknowable infinite beyond mind, infinity beyond mind. Okay, it is like giving a practical step here. As an experiment, the next time you make love with your women, feel through your own physical and emotional boundaries into her. Feel into her so deeply that you become unaware of yourself and totally aware of her. It's like empathizing into her, feeling her instead of feeling yourself, feeling more of her than yourself. Whatever it is, feel yourself, move into her, your boundaries dissolving so that you become her, utterly aware of her breath, her movements, her emotions. A lot of things about spirituality and enlightenment, it's like oneness, becoming one together, merging with ego death. Let's just call it, where your ego dissolves. Any thoughts irrelevant just cannot distract you anymore. Feeling yourself into her, becoming aware of her breaths. Love her with more abandon than you've ever allowed yourself before. Feel through not only your boundaries but also her boundaries, so that you both dissolve in the immense force of your loving. Relax into the force of love so completely that only love remains. It is beautifully said here. Relax into the force of love so completely that only love remains. Allow this love to ravish your woman into bursting, filling her heart and body beyond capacity, and she has no choice but to surrender to the depth of force of your loving. With a relaxed and spontaneous body, allow your love to penetrate her so deeply that she is overwhelmed to the point of tears as you yield yourself, letting go of all fear, only giving love. I think this is like the best case scenario that the author is trying to tell us. Allow this love, don't suppress it. Allow this love to ravish your women into bursting, filling her heart and body, opening her heart and body beyond capacity, filling her so that she has no choice but to surrender to the depth and force of your loving. With a relaxed and spontaneous body, allow your love to penetrate her so deeply that she is overwhelmed to the point of tears as you yield yourself, letting go of all fears, only giving love. In the midst of this self-yielding, in the midst of this self-yielding, my pronunciations of some words are like still loop. Whatever, bro, I'm practicing, bro. In the midst of this self-yielding and giving of love, allow your entire masculine desire to manifest, dark and light. Do and be everything you ever wanted with her, in love, spontaneously, and with deep feeling into her and through her. From time to time, take a special care to allow space for her energies and desires to take you places you would have never gone on your own. Okay, so it is indicating that the feminine energy, the feminine energy that your women have, can take you to places that you have never gone or could go on your own. It's like allowing, letting go of fear and just allowing love to happen. That's the way to go. Putting intention, right? I know this is a lot of complicated shits to go through, but once you put the intention to do so, once you put the intention to relax, just allow love to happen, letting go of fear, dissolving our ego, becoming one with your women. That is gonna happen if you put the intention to do so. In the midst, okay, we've already talked about that. Okay. By reclaiming the full force of your dark masculine loving, you will not only re-own your capacity to ravish your women passionately in selfless ecstasy, but you will also re-own your spiritual gods. You will develop the courage to let go of yourself in the face of ego death. You will unkink the host of your masculine spiritual force by opening to the dark side of your sexual desiring, allowing the force of love itself to draw you beyond the need for control and fearful grasping. You will cultivate your capacity to die into love with no need to hold onto yourself. Over time, as this force moves through your body more freely, you will discover that naturally enhanced capacity to yield into spiritual death. Okay, over time, as you practice intentionally to let this force of loving move through your body more freely, relaxed way without constraint, you will discover a naturally enhanced capacity to yield into spiritual death. You will be able to yield more into spiritual death over time. Or the dissolution of your sense of separate self in the freedom of unboundedness. Your ego dies, you become one. There's no sense of separate self. There's just one self, and that is you. Your ego dies. Once whatever your thoughts, okay, I'm getting a more definitive description of ego here. Not in a theoretical textbook method, but it's like your sense of self you have. You have a sense of separate self. You think you're different. You act in a certain way to certain people in your whole life, but then you think that you are different in a way that, oh, I have my separate self, I have my other self that is totally opposite to what I act in front of the people, my teachers, my friends, my family. Once you let this self that you're showing to your friends, family, and teachers, and the sense of self that you have as your ego, once you combine this, once you find a sweet spot, then only you become full. Then only you become like charismatic, courageous, fearless person. I think that is the best advice I could give you. Like not the best advice that I could give you, but the recent thing that I've learned is that once you let your ego dissolve and not have this separate sense of self, you're acting differently to you others. You're a sense of separate self when you're in your room. You're jerking off, having all these dark desires and entertaining the fantasy to rape a woman and all that, bro. Once you have these dark desires and this sense of self, which you act in front of your women or your friends, your family. Once you immerse that, then only you become more courageous. then you become relaxed, ego dead, and then you realize that you can have the capacity to yield into spiritual death, into the freedom of unboundedness. Okay, a lot of spiritual things here. Rather than gripping yourself onto yourself, rather than gripping onto yourself, you will be able to ease yourself more fully into the consciousness that you are. You will be able to fully relax yourself, ease yourself to the consciousness that you truly are, because you are one now. There is no ego now. And in doing so, you will recognize the the great one with no boundaries, who is living you now, and who is not other than you. Damn, damn, damn. Okay, once you have this ego dead, you can have the capacity to yield more into the spiritual dead. Okay, that is when your sense of separate self, your ego dissolves, like I've talked about ego before. So rather than gripping onto yourself, you will find that you are able to ease yourself more fully into the consciousness that you truly are. Because once your ego and once that self that you act in front of most people, like civil way, once that dissolve and become one, then you become more fully into the consciousness of who you truly are. Then that is when you realize, you recognize the great one, your great sense of self, your greater self. It may be God. I'm not telling that you are God, but I don't know about all these spiritual shits, right? But you recognize something greater than yourself, with no boundaries, who is living in your form now just because you have merged into this oneness, who is not other than you, who is not no one. It's no one else. It's you, the greater self that you recognize after you fully lean onto the oneness, onto the consciousness that you are after the ego dead. That is none other than you. Two paragraph lefts from this chapter, okay? But to let go of your sense of individuated, separate self takes guts. Okay, to let go of your ego, it takes guts. And you wouldn't have them, and you wouldn't have those guts if you don't even have the daring to let go of the sense of separate between you and your women when making love. Okay. So having this ego away from us and having this oneness that we are just one person, when we recognize the greater self, for that you need guts. For ego, that you need guts. And if you have that guts, that is like the same type of guts that help you to, you know, become one with your women when you are like having sex and making love. To truly ravish your women in love, you must yield yourself in the worship and trust of her heart, which in truth is your heart. Okay, okay, okay. To truly ravish your women in love, you must yield yourself in the worship and trust of her heart, which is your heart. It's like about oneness, man. It's like your heart is her heart is her heart, which you should yield and trust it. Such fearlessness will prepare you for, and perhaps even initiate you into the worship and trust of consciousness itself, such that you will find a greater and greater capacity to yield into the boundless one that you truly are, into your consciousness self, to the greater self that you truly are. Because we think we are here, but actually we might be actually here. We are here, but we think to ourselves here. Why? Because of our ego. We think that we are different than we truly act to our friends and family. But it's only when we become one, when we have the guts for ego dead, when we undergo through certain practices, it's like we become one. Okay. Interesting. Interesting, because it is only when ego death happens that you become one. And that is when your greater self is recognized by you. You thought you were here the whole time because of your ego, but because you had the guts, the same guts that helps you to become one with your women, one in heart, That is when you recognize the greater self that you are, which is none other than you. Okay. Yo, Sablo. Sablo is here. Mentally, Sablo. So, mentally was Sablo the whole time, bro. Okay, mentally, I know mentally. It's like, yeah, I've seen you in my live stream before. Good to have you, Sablo. Actually, I was thinking to do this on my Discord community, but this topic itself, this part of the Way of the Superior Man book itself, your dark side, I think that is like something that we should all know, something that especially young men should be all aware of, so that we can be more directed in the right way in our life, because we are young, we are navigating through life. That's why I wanted to make this on my YouTube channel, not only just for my Discord community, which is actually great, but for my YouTube channel too. I'm gonna save this live stream on my YouTube channel after I'm done with this book reading session. But first, let me just fucking drink water, because there's only 2 chapters left. She wants the killer. Chapter number 37. She wants the killer in you. It is said in here, quote unquote, killer. Okay, she wants the killer in you. Let me just switch my place here. I'm reading from my laptop, bro. It's actually out here. She wants the killer in you. You don't have to pause the video and just look at what brand my laptop is or anything. It's just it's just a laptop, bro. I'm reading from PDF ebook. I usually send free PDFs, like the ones I've downloaded, the ones I've found free on the internet, on my Discord server. It's like one of the, what do you say, chat channel. One of the channel is like reading sessions, so I share it out there, or every PDF of the books which I suggest you guys. She wants the killer in you. She wants the killer in you. Okay, what do you picture of when you're hearing this title? She wants the killer in you. Okay, she wants something first of all, and that is a killer, which means probably something uncomfortable, right? Not for mediocre men, okay? But that is not why we're here. We don't want to be mediocre. That is exactly why we're here, okay? Okay, that is exactly why we are here. Among many other qualities, a woman wants the killer in her man. She is turned off if her man is afraid and wants her to kill the cockroach or the mouse when he stands on the chair and watches. Okay, she is turned off if her man wants her to get out of bed in order to check out the strange sounds in the house to find out if a burglar made the noise. Fearlessness, or the capacity to transcend fear of death for the sake of love, is a quintessential form of the ultimate masculine gift. That is so fucking true. And by the way, when I'm telling like you're women, she wants this, she wants that, you're feminine women, I'm not talking about only your partner itself. I'm talking about those women in your life. It may be your sister, it may be your mother. Not weird, bro. This is like all natural, bro. Feminine women, they are the same except for the part when you're like ravishing her and making love with her, bro. Don't do that with your cousin or like your sister and all that, bro. That shit is fucking weird. But you know, women have a feminine energy. So for you to be in the way of the superior man, this is the complete guide here. So it is said here how she is turned off if her man is afraid to kill the cockroach. Suppose you are having dinner together and then you see a fucking cockroach nearby and then it's flying all across the room and then you're like, you're the man, but you're like afraid to kill it and you want your women to kill it. She is turned off. She wants the fearlessness. She wants to feel the fearlessness in you, to transcend the fear of death for the sake of love. Okay, To be ready to, like, in basically means like to be ready to die, to be ready to give your life for the sake of love, transcend the fear of death for the sake of love. At least not be able to, you wouldn't be able to die. Like, it's not necessarily that you end up dying, but like you have the capacity to die. You have no fear to die. You're not afraid to die for the sake of love. But dying or not, that is your choice, depending on the situation too, you know. It's been an hour, bro. Good start for the day. You know, doing hard stuff in the day. Just took a cold shower, read a book for an hour, recorded for 10 minutes, and now I'm recording this live stream here. Sore as fuck from yesterday. I also did some stretching in the morning. Whew, feeling productive, not gonna lie. Sacrificing school, right? Because today was actually supposed to be school. It's actually morning right now, and it's like you have to make trade-offs sometimes. Okay, this is like a side lesson here. I think this will really be useful for you to understand. There's always gonna be trade-off. Today was school. It was a choice between whether or not I go to school and not get the detention, or I don't go to school, do all my works, complete it, and get just a detention for like 1 hour. That is fucking easy, right? Getting detention for 1 hour. Okay, what do? I study anyways. I hit some push-ups when I'm getting the detention anyways. I do my workout during detention, bro. Fair trade, man. I mean, it's alright. Not going to school, getting detention, okay? Or going to school, wasting your fucking time, which is like detention anyways, because it's like a basketball match going on, and you're either the player or the audience. And by the way, I'm not like into basketball as much, so I don't want to be the audience. I'd rather stay at home, get 1 hour of detention, and just complete all my works like I'm doing down, reading books. I'm gonna study later, I'm gonna record videos later, I'm gonna complete this book reading session. A lot of shits, bro. Sometimes you just gotta make trade-offs. Sometimes it's not always gonna be the best of both worlds, where you're not getting detention and where you're not going to school at the same time. You gotta have one bad shit, and it's a matter of whether or not that is worth it. Quick lesson. Alright. Fearlessness, or the capacity to transcend fear of death for the sake of love, is a quintessential, again the same word, bro, quintessential form of the ultimate masculine gift. Okay, let's start reading this chapter. Let's read this fast, yeah? Because I'm also hungry as fuck. But the first chapter, the first paragraph, I mean to say, although your woman doesn't want you to be a killer, she is turned on by your capacity to kill. Exactly, man. Exactly. Like, which is why we are talking about quote unquote killer. It's not just killer. She doesn't want you to literally murder someone, but she wants you to be. She wants to know that you have the capacity to kill. Okay, it may be anything. She wants to know that you have the capacity to. You have this capacity in you to kill. But she doesn't want you to be a killer, but she wants to know that you have the capacity to kill, because she is turned on by your capacity to kill. Capacity to kill, not the very action to kill. And she is turned off by your lack of this capacity. Because as a member, think about it. This is so biological. This is so biologically programmed in us, like, especially women. When we were in this early human stage, they were programmed to like get a partner, get a man who have the capacity to kill. Because if not, what will happen? If the man has no capacity to kill, what would happen? What would happen when a saber-tooth tiger attacks your family? What will happen when any threat occurs? When a hungry man, when a madman attacks his family and he has no capacity to kill, they would die. Their survival depends solely, bro. This survival itself depends on whether or not the man of the family has the capacity to kill. Okay, To kill is not necessary, depends on the situation, but she is turned on by the capacity to kill. She is turned off by the lack of this capacity. It's like a biological conditioning for women, because women is like physically weaker than men. Of course, like majority of the statistics, I mean to say, biologically women are weaker than men. That's why they solely need to depend on them. And of course they are strong in their own ways. They are like motherhood, they are like facing periods and all that. Bro, my throat is getting dry. You know, women are strong in their own ways. Hmm. But for a man to have this capacity, that is very important. Survival depends on it. That's why it is like conditioned in women, generation after generation. For instance, imagine that a big cockroach crawls into the living room. You jump on the couch and scream to your woman, "Kill it! Please kill it!" She would probably not be turned on. Or imagine that you are. Okay, imagine that you are in bed with your women at night. You hear some strange noises, okay? Imagine you're in bed with a woman and you hear some strange noises downstairs in the kitchen. You are afraid. So you ask your women to go down and check it out. Check it out, baby. Just go down and can you check it out what the noise is about? She is not going to become excited by your masculine valiancy. In both these cases, when you're like letting your women become the killer of the cockroach, in both these cases, your women will feel your fear of death for the sake of love. She doesn't want you to be a killer. Now, we're not talking about her wanting you to be a killer. You don't necessarily have to be a killer, but she wants to feel that you are capable of facing that you don't have any fear of that if necessary. In fact, she wants to feel that you are capable of killing if necessary. Okay, it's talking about if necessary on a non-repetition, which means that it solely depends on the situation. If necessary, she wants to feel that you can kill. If an insane maniac, if an insane maniac broke into your home and was about to murder your children, your women, that means your women would not be happy if you had the opportunity to do something about it, but you said, "Well, okay, Mr. Maniac, whatever you want to do is fine with me." No, your woman will be fucking turned off by that. But like, if a maniac broke into your house, threatening your family, and you're just like telling, "Okay, Mr. Maniac, it's fine. Whatever you want to do with us, just it's fine with me." Your woman is gonna be fucking disappointed. Not even pissed off at that point. It's like getting disappointed. Why did I choose him as my man? Nah, she's not gonna be particularly happy. The dark masculine energy of the warrior, the one who could face death and kill when necessary, is an essential part of you. Which is why, number one, you must learn how to fight. However, it doesn't take long to learn how to punch. It doesn't take long to get the noob gains. It's like 1 year and you get all the noob gains. 1, 2 year and you are pretty good in shape. You're pretty much better than 90% of men. Of course, the fitness trend is going so much viral nowadays, so people are getting more into fitness. But it doesn't take much to become better than majority of the men, let alone become above average by working out for 2 years consistently. And then to learn how to punch, it doesn't even take long. Just like 6 months of training. Not even 6 months, it's like 3 months of training and you're done. You perfected the art of punching. How do you punch? You don't fucking punch, throw haymakers. You use your body as a leverage. You use your body, twist your body, upper body, your waist. You use your legs, drive your leg power. You punch that way, as well as blocking at the same time, and then being able to balance that and doing the next move. It's easy to learn how to punch. It's easy to learn how to kill. It's easy to learn how to fight. It doesn't take even much, not as much as you think it is. Just because an average man sees Canelo boxing with all this head movement, or Floyd Mayweather, or even Mike Tyson going on, wow, 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 peekaboo, ooh. The standard is set up so high that they think, ah, shit, in order to box, in order to learn how to fight, I need to be like Mike Tyson. I need to be like Floyd Mayweather. Whoever it is, Muhammad Ali. No, you don't have to be like them. You just have to learn the ropes, be decent at it. Ah, no, learn how to jab. It doesn't even take much. It doesn't even take much time. You need 10,000 hours to become an expert, but you only need 20 hours to become 70% of an expert. There's a huge gap there. Because those first 20 hours, those first 50 hours, those are when you learn the most. Those are when you're learning a new motor connection. Your neurons are learning a new move, so you get used to it. 60% of the battle is done. And for you to become an expert, which is like 100% mastering the craft, mastering the art, is like 10,000 hours to becoming an expert. That's what the usual, I wouldn't say cliche is, but the usual saying is 10,000 hours to become an expert, 50 hours to learn the ropes, and become just good enough to be almost close to an expert, like 70% of an expert, 80% of an expert. So the ability to face that and kill when necessary is an essential part of you. I know these are some dark shit, but just think about it. There is war going on all around the world. Not all around the world, but Israel, Palestine, they're facing war. There is a man just like you out there in Palestine facing war. And people are fighting. And what would happen if he don't know how to fight like a warrior, ready to face that? He's gonna die along with his sister, his family, his mother, his father. War is happening, bro. You have to learn how to fight. It doesn't even take much. I think it is necessary, it is essential for every man to learn how to fight. And for us to think that we need to become like Mike Tyson to learn how to fight, no, 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 no. Learn the ropes, it doesn't even take much. Today's current fashion is to suppress both the dark masculine and the dark feminine. So we have a large population of wimpy men and polite women. But beneath the nice veneer of most women lies a wrathful goddess who could chop the head off of every mediocre new age man. I like that. I like that. Beneath the nice, polite women lies her dark feminine energy, who could chop off the head of every mediocre, new, pussy, new age modern man. And beneath the patient smile of most men lies the warrior of love, who would ravish his women and bliss into bliss rather than listen to her chat in pointless emotional cycles, ready to face that and ready to kill, having the capacity to kill. But the dark masculine energy has been suppressed so thoroughly these days that the ordinary man would prefer a paced. Okay, let me say that again. But the dark but the dark masculine energy has been suppressed so thoroughly these days that the ordinary man would prefer to paste a smile on his bored face rather than penetrate his women's tension into uncompromising love. And he is just as cautious about disrupting his own well planned life of comfort and security in order to penetrate his own fear of death. Hmm. He is afraid of giving up his well planned life of comfort and security to penetrate his own fear of death. When you're not afraid to die, when you're out of your comfort zone, giving up your well planned comfort life and security, really going out uncomfortable, you have the warrior mindset. But the modern days is like dark masculine energy has been suppressed, so it's like most men are just preferring to live a more comfortable life rather than to penetrate his own fear of death. Are you afraid to die? No, fuck this. Die with honor. You know what I'm saying? It's like those warrior mentality. Also, I'm also not perfect in this. That's why that is exactly why I'm learning this. I'm trying to ingrain the warrior mentality in me. Fear of facing that, killing that spider on the wall, without being afraid. Of course. Although she may resist this at first, your woman, if she has a feminine sexual essence, wants to feel your fearlessness. She wants to feel your capacity to face her closure, anger, and tension without trying to minimize her feminine force. She wants to feel your persistence in loving. My battery is low right now, fuck. So that her fury cannot turn you away. She wants to feel your capacity to stand strong in your own desires and ravish her because you love her, unafraid of her dark energy. She wants to feel this dark masculine capacity, not simply because she wants to be ravished, but because it is aligned to your overall capacity to face and know that you own and others. Your own and others dead. She wants to feel that you are unafraid of her dark energy. She wants to feel that you have the capacity to face that, not only your own death, but of also others' death. And it is this capacity that makes you a trustable man. Both as a man warrior, but also as a spiritual warrior. Not being a pussy, right? So the practical step for you is to not stop being a pussy. If there's any hard work to do, do it. Show your women. Show the women in your family, your mother, your sister, that you are a trustable son, trustable brother. Because it's not necessarily that she gets turned on sexually by that. No, 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 no. This is some weird stuff. But as a family, also they must be able to trust you. Which is why you, as a masculine man, sets the example, sets the standard. Good. And yeah, this makes you a trustable man. Not only as a human warrior, but also as a spiritual warrior. The knowledge of that makes you humble and courageous. Exactly. It makes you humble. It humbles the fuck out of you. Because most men are like egotistical as fuck. They think everything is centered around them, that everything revolves around them, that they are the center of the fucking universe, that they are the sun or something like that. They have this fear of them. Ah, what will other people think of me? They have these fucking ego thoughts stopping them from living to their best self. And having this ego really numbs you from how insignificant you actually are, unless you work towards it, unless you have the humbleness. And by the way, understanding that you are only mortal, that you are only mortal, that you are not gonna live forever, that humbles the fuck out of you. I remember like reading a book on, I don't know exactly how it was, but it's like Stoicism. There was this Roman people celebrating because of war victory. They won war and they were celebrating and they were all proud and all that. And then there was this beggar that told the king or the emperor, I think it was Marcus Aurelius, correct me if I'm wrong, quote unquote, you are only mortal. We are only mortal. No matter how much achievement we make, we are only mortal. That is certain. And that humbles the fuck out of you. That humbles the fuck out of any egotistical man. It makes us courageous because we want to now, since we are mortal, since we're not gonna live forever, we don't want to cry about it. We don't want to feel sad about it, depressed about it. We don't want to feel down about it. We don't want to feel insignificant about it. We want to have this humility to admit that we are low right now, but we still, as being a low person, want to make the best out of the moment. Even though no matter how low we are, we want to make the best out of the moment, especially because we are low, because we are humbled the fuck down by understanding that their death is certain. The knowledge of death strips the armor from your heart and allows the knowledge of love. This knowledge of death and love is your doorway through your own fears. Knowledge of death and love. Okay. Knowledge of death strips the armor from your heart. You have this ego in your heart that is like protecting your ego, your heart from being hurt. But knowledge of that humbles the fuck out of you, takes out this shield that has been protecting your ego the whole time, because your ego is dead now. And this allows for the knowledge of love. And only when you have the knowledge of love, then your doorway through your own fears, through your own clinging to security, into the unknowable mystery that lies beyond your little cell of self-protective importance is opened. Okay, let me just explain this. When you have the knowledge, when you have the knowledge of that, the knowledge of love opens. And when you have the knowledge of love, the doorway opens for the mystery unknown that lies beyond your little cell of comfort and self-importance, your ego. Something is bigger than you, and you begin to recognize that thing, that oneness, the consciousness of who you truly are, based on your deep meaning, deep truth, purpose. That's the way they put it. Deep meaning, deep truth, your purpose, true living, all of those complicated words in this chapter, in this book as a whole. Your women's desire for your dark side in love is a gift to you. Her desiring your dark side, her desiring the capacity for you to be able to kill, is a gift to you. It brings out the best in you. By honoring her desire through the cultivation of your dark and fearless loving, your need for love protection, by honoring her desire for your dark side through the cultivation of your dark and fearless loving, your need for self-protection will decrease, and every moment will stand more naked, vulnerable, and true, released from your need for consolation and false self-assurance. Rather than smiling at your present experience from behind a curtain of safety, minimizing your participation with always life-threatening potential of the moment, rather than doing that, you will lovingly surrender your position to ravish the moment. Not only your women, but ravish the moment. Penetrate the world, penetrate it to its core, and find yourself courageous, find yourself identical to it. Feeling true and true and true is your only freedom. The killer your women wants is the one who knows that life is a process of dying true, which cannot be lost. One, okay, only in this sacrifice of fear can one's heart remain unguarded. Only sacrificing this fear of death, then only your heart will remain unguarded. Facing the potential burglar at night is the only sign to your women that you are willing to lose everything into love. You are willing to die for love. Facing that fucking maniac that breaks into your home at night, you're willing to lose everything for love. Rather than being protected. Okay, she wants the killer in you. She wants to know that you have the capacity to kill. She don't want to feel that you are weak, that you have fear of that like most men do. Most men just live in comfort. They don't want to face the maniac that breaks into their house. They would prefer their women to do it. And that is fucking turn off for the women. And it's only when you have this understanding that that is certain, that is gonna come anyway, so you don't have the fear of that. That is only when the doorways to understanding love opens. That is when your ego dies. That is when you are humbled the fuck down, because you are not the center of the universe. The world doesn't spin or revolve around you. It is when you become courageous at the same time, because you want to make the best out of the moment. You want to penetrate the shit out of this world to the point where you are so loving to this world that you give it a better reason to live. You give the world a better reason to exist. You give your own contribution. You penetrate the world in such a way, such a loving way, in a courageous way, that you align your whole life with your own purpose, that you live up to your fullest self. Because only when you sacrifice the fear of death, only when you understand that death is certain for you, so you are not the center of the universe, that is only when your heart remains unguarded. You don't guard your ego anymore, because your ego has already died. So in this point, Your woman feels that you are willing to die for love, as you should be. You should be able to ready to kill. Not in a sense that you should kill. If necessary, you should, but you should be having the capacity to facing the fear of death, facing the fear of death. Last 2 chapters left. Let me just charge my phone or something. Yeah, let me just do that. I'll be right back. I'll be right back after. I'm gonna bring my charger. It's gonna be taking like a minute or so. Yo, so the phone is charging right now. Okay, the lighting is actually good here. Actually looks good. I actually look good. No, the lighting is not good. The lighting is not good. But you know, the angle is good. Yeah, it's just fine. It's not perfect or anything like that, but it's fine. Last fucking chapter. I told you I'm gonna make it. Last chapter for this session. Let me just give it a good focus here. Chapter number 38. She needs your consciousness to match her energy. Okay, your consciousness to match her energy. This is actually a new chapter that I'm reading. Because the previous 2 chapters I've already read out of curiosity, right? The dark side. So I was also curious and wanted to skip to that part of this book so that I can read it in advance. It was like before I even started these book sessions, because I do this like daily. I started from chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, 4. Serially, I've been doing that continuously. But before that, I was like reading it anyways. And most of the part which will come sooner in this book, I've also read those. It's like breathing down the front, controlling your ejaculation, using it to ejaculate, transmutation of sexual energy, to like really transmute it, channel it throughout your body. We're gonna learn that in the future videos, so stay tuned at the same time. For now, this chapter number 38, the last chapter for this part. Your dark, what is it? Your dark desire, your dark self, your dark side, your dark side. So, hope you're clear about how she wants the killer in you. She needs your consciousness to match her energy. Okay? She needs your consciousness to match her energy. There must be a matching similarity. That's what I understand from this title. Let's read. A man must be able to meet his women with consciousness equivalent to her energy. There must be a match. Okay. The feminine destructress must be met by the masculine destroyer. The goddess of devotion. Okay. The feminine destructress must be met by the masculine destroyer. The goddess of devotion must be met by God of all pervading love. Dark or light, a man must be stuck in or avoid any areas of his masculine capacity or his women who will test him there. Okay, dark or light, a man can't be stuck in or avoid any areas of his masculine capacity to his women. Or his women will test him. I've already talked about how women will always test you. The existence of your women itself is a test for you. Every second, every minute, she will test your capacity of whether or not you will give in to her test. Because she doesn't even know why she's testing you. But she will test you. Even though no matter how successful you become, she will like almost belittle your success in a way to just test you whether or not your happiness is actually dependent on her. Because she needs to be able to trust you that, oh yeah, my man is not dependent on my validation to him. He is internally driven. So you must be internally driven at that point. Or else your women will test you, dear, whatever you are lacking in. These areas of testing are usually first on the dark side. Only after trust is established here, then will testing proceed towards the light. Okay. It's first the dark side testing and then it's the light. Only when the testing, okay, only when your women is able to test you and only when you are able to pass your women's test from the dark side, then only you will be able to face the test again for your light side. Dark side, light side. I don't even have a perfect understanding of this, but you see what I mean because we're going along the same one. We're going along the same road as I'm reading this book. I'm also learning at the same time. Okay. As you probably know, your woman is capable of a witch. Fuck. Your woman is capable of being a witch. She is capable of that. I hope the battery is charging there. Your woman is capable of being a witch, a sex slave, an Amazon, a goddess of light, a nurturing mother, a demoness, a luscious lover, a wise teacher, a wild animal, and everything in between. She is capable of all this. As a general rule, whatever she is capable of, the general rule is this: she will keep turning, she will keep returning to the energy that you cannot match. Okay? Okay, she will. Okay, I get this now. You have your consciousness, she has her energy. It's matching. But no, she wouldn't target the ones that's matching. Your consciousness is here, your energy is not matching, your consciousness is not matching a certain energy of hers, and she will target that instead. She will test you in that way, okay? That's the general rule. Let's see what it has to say here. For instance, if you are particularly pissed off, if you're particularly moved by anger, turned off by her anger, she will seem to return again and again to energy of her anger so that she can test you whether or not you can embrace her anger. If you are unable to embrace her anger in the ferocity of your loving, if you are unable to bring love and happiness in the moment of upset, of anger, of annoyance, and transforming her anger into passion, then she will continue to test you. She will continue to test you, test your capacity to do so anyways, on and on. And you offer energies that you are unable to transform into love through the force, clarity, and humor of your consciousness will return to you face in. Okay, I got it. If you can't do a certain thing for a woman, if she is testing you because, like, first she will feel where you are lacking, where you're not able to match your consciousness with her energy. If suppose you are like getting pissed off by her often, then she will piss you off more so that to test whether or not you have the capacity to embrace her testings, her annoyance. She will annoy you on and on again. You get pissed off by her getting angry, she will get angry to piss you off again, in a way to test you. Any offer energies that you are unable to transform into love through the force, clarity, and humor of your consciousness will return for you to face again and again. Perhaps she gets tense and agitated often. You have tried talking about this with her countless times. Nothing seems to make a difference, so you just stop trying. You learn to tolerate her tension. Without consciously choosing to get tense, she will continue to test you. Until your consciousness is able to blossom her beyond her tension, you will be tested. A lesser man might decide, well, she's going to have to deal with herself, her tension. Let her deal with her anger herself. But she will not be in a relationship with you if she wanted to deal with it herself. Because at that point, she will become more of a masculine man herself. She will become a man of her own. Because here you are, not being masculine, not being able to embrace her feelings, embrace her upside down mood swing cycles with your own loving presence, with your own loving consciousness. Then of course, she will become the man of her own, and then at that point, she wouldn't even need a man. That's why you have one of those A lot of those cringy females who say, I don't need a man, I don't need a man, because she becomes the own man. Because maybe in the past, her man wasn't man enough to pass her test by loving her consciously, okay? Exactly what it is say here. This is the last chapter here, actually, so let's give it our best. She would not be in a relationship at the first place if she would have dealt with it herself. She wants your consciousness, clear, strong, free, as much as you want her radiance. Because feminine energy is all about radiance, aliveness, enlivening, rejuvenating, moving, just like the nature is. Because the nature is also feminine, just as the way your women is. Just as the way your women is, yeah. Or maybe any women in your life. If you are not penetrating her mood, she can. If you are not penetrating her moods, she cannot feel your free consciousness. You must be able to penetrate her mood through your clarity, through your strongness and your freeness and your loving consciousness, your humor. Instead, if she cannot feel that you can penetrate her mood, then she feels you throw up your hands, impotent in the face of her energy. It's almost like you are giving up in her eyes. You just gave up if you can deal with her energy. So the secret solution here is to match her energy with your consciousness demonstrated through your body. If she is screaming and breaking dishes, your body must meet her energy, okay? If she is screaming, getting loud, breaking dishes, your body must still meet her energy in a loving way. Your fearlessness and strength in love must manifest throughout your body. If you are cringing, if your voice is restrained and you are telling her that you love her, she wouldn't be leaving you. You must walk up to her, hold her in your arms, and laugh affectionately in the humor of the moment. And she will be feeling your freedom, your freeness, if it is for real. If you're not just like going out there and holding her by her arms because I told you to do so, then because you must feel it. You must manifest it from your body, not just merely saying, not just saying that you love her, but you must show it, holding her arms, holding her around your arms, looking her deep into the eye. Not in a weird way, staring at her like this, but really getting into the moment. And she will feel it. She will feel your freedom, your love. And she will feel it because it is communicated through your body. Your body, tone of voice, and the look in your eyes mean a lot more than anything you could say. Exactly what I was talking about, right? Your body. You must manifest your love. You must manifest your love from your body. Because this means a lot more than what you could ever say. The way you speak, the tone of your body posture, the way you look into her eyes. Like I've said before, don't tell her what to do. Don't tell her what to do, but do it with her. Okay? With your body. Do it with her with your body. It's like one of those chapters that I read from How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dramatize your idea. It's essentially not just merely saying other people to do this, to do that, but dramatizing your idea. Whatever you are telling to do, whatever your idea is for them to do, you do it with them. You dramatize your idea. You put some extra masala to them, put some spices to it. Do it with her, with your body. If she is tensed, close down, lift her arms up above her head and kiss her heart. Don't just tell her to open up. Actually open her up. Like dramatize your idea physically with the openness of your body. The same is true for her bliss. You must meet it bodily. If she is in the ecstatic throes of devotional surrender to divine love, then your consciousness must be just as free. Your body must meet her body, full of relaxation. Your body must meet her body, full of relaxation, trust, and power. Your capacity to surrender through your fears and release your sense of separate self in the divine communion must be strong as her surrender to love. Okay, your capacity to surrender through your fears of death and release into the oneness from your separate ego self into the love that you are with your partner. Just as the way she surrenders into love, that is gonna be powerful, that is gonna be relaxing, that is gonna be very polarizing for your relationship. And you must show it through your body, not just by your words. That is the key. That is the key here. Not just by your words, but through your body. Dramatizing your idea. Just as how I say to you about the lessons from how to win friends and influence people. Because everything relates. The lessons from book, like in this whole live stream I've talked about, I've mentioned 2 books so far. The Male Advantage and How to Win Friends and Influence People. Besides this book, which is like the Way of the Superior Man. The Way of the Superior Male. The Way of the Superior Man. If your surrender into communion is not as strong as her surrender, she will not. Okay. If your surrender is not as strong as hers, if you're surrendering like oneness together with your partner, but your surrendering is not as strong as hers, she will return to the place of your limiting fear. Because the only way that it is not going to be strong is because of your fear. Because she is going to be putting like an attention to your limiting fear, to that very fear, your weakness, and test you there. She's going to test you as a feminine woman, so whether or not she can test you, to see your capacity to embrace her. Because she needs to be able to trust you. Because imagine in the early human days, this is like the 3rd time I'm relating to the early human days, bro. A woman must be able to trust her man, because her man is going to be able to set the direction for the relationship. If anything goes wrong in your life, especially in the early human days when everything was like predators and all that, she needs to be able to trust her man, that her man can have the capacity to handle and the capacity to kill. Trust is very important. She will test you, dear. If you collapse or fail the test or react with unlove when she questions your financial ability, she will continue to do so, on and on, testing your weak spots. If you feel weakened when she questions your sexual ability, she will continue to do so. If you feel like you're weak in your workouts when she's asking you about it, how strong you are, she will continue to test you again. She will do that again, implicitly or explicitly. She needs to be able to know that you are passing the test. How do you pass the test? Embracing her through loving. It's never the direct answer that she wants. It's the presence, your masculine directionness, your masculine clarity, humor, loving that she wants. She wants you to really look into your purpose first. Not set her as the first priority in the relationship. Have a trustable personality so that she can be able to trust you and relax into your masculine self, so that she can push away her masculine self herself and lean onto her own feminine self. Okay, what did I just say? Bro, because like my voice is like dried up, my throat is like dried up. So I'm saying all these things, but I don't know what I'm saying. It's not like I don't know what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying, but I don't know if my words are exactly what I'm thinking or in my mind. You know, a woman, what I was talking is a woman must be able to relax into her feminine energy, because her man, you, are gonna be masculine. So she don't need to be her own masculine man and take care of herself and set the direction, because you are there. You are already there. Last page of this reading session here. Okay, this is like the last few paragraphs of this chapter, and we're done. And we're done with these book chapters, okay? Great. This is harder than doing 100 push-ups, really. For real, like, this is so much harder than hitting 100 push-ups. My throat is getting dry and all that. It's been like 1 hour. It's been like 2 hours already. Fuck it. What's my battery, by the way? Okay, still fine. Let's beatbox and let's relax for now. Sometimes you just gotta take a quick rest, quick break. Now we're done. Back to the paragraph. She will never trust your lighter masculine capacities until you have proven your darker masculine capacities. So you have a dark energy, you have a light energy, you have a dark side, you have a light side. The light side is more like the one you show. The dark side is the one you often don't show because that is gonna be weird. Those dark desires are gonna be weird. She will target first those dark sides and then she will move into the light side. I don't personally understand what it is because I've only been introduced to this in this chapter for the first time, but that is exactly where we are here. That is exactly why we are here to learn. First the dark, then the light. That is what we understand so far. And she will test you continuously your weaknesses. Your woman has an intuitive knowledge concerning your consciousness. She has a good knowledge because of, I've said it already, biological programming. She knows that if you are not free to meet her dark, destructive energy and ravish her in love, you won't be free to meet the dark destructiveness of the world. Okay. If here you are, you can even handle her dark destructiveness energy, her testing, her mood swings. Then how the fuck can you handle the destructiveness of the world, the uncertainty, the unpredictability of the world? Which is why this book relates the women, your women with the world. So much similarities. She knows that if you are not free to meet her dark destructress energy and ravish her in love, you won't be free to meet the dark destructress of the world, who will challenge your spiritual freedom with strength and love. You need not concern yourself with pleasing her. That's not the point. You don't want to please her. That's not the main point. Of course, you want to please her depending on the situation if necessary. But that is not the point. She is offering you a gift. She is presenting you with an energy in the form of her mood and emotion, offering you an opportunity to learn to master this energy with your fearless loving. Exactly what it is. The feminine energy is a gift. Her mood swings is a gift, which most men, just mediocre men, just push it away. Text me after you're done being angry, bro. If she was to deal with it herself, that she wouldn't be with you at the first place. You are the man here. You must be able to deal with it with your capacity to love. Exactly what is here. Your fearless loving. Not to please her, all that, but you must master this energy, her energy, with your fearless loving. And this is a beautiful opportunity. This is a blessing from the universe. It is an opportunity for you to learn to master this energy, just as the way you would to the world, because the women and the world is same. It's almost like similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. Whatever energy she offers you, you can sure the world will offer you as well. Exactly. I was talking about this exactly, right? Whatever she is offering you, whatever energy is offering you, you can be sure that the world will offer you the same energy, and you must now learn to master this energy with your fearless loving and penetration. Okay, penetration, that's the word here. Penetrate through it with your contribution. Live up to your deep meaning, your deep truth, your deep purpose. Okay. If you have ever tried to increase your income or magnify your spiritual clarity, you know that the world will test you. When you're trying to make a grind, when you're trying to succeed, when you're like on a hustle, when you're trying to increase your income, financial freedom, or going to escape the matrix or whatever, your spiritual clarity to be increased. Whenever you're trying to pursue all those, the world is going to test you. Everything is going to be against you, especially at those first moments. The world will test you just as the way your woman will test you, testing your weakness, where you are lacking. This is not to say that you have to please her. This is not to say that you are belittled. This is not to say that you are down here. This is to say that this is an opportunity from the universe that is giving you. This is a test from the universe, and this is a blessing because this is an opportunity for you to learn more, for you to master, for you to grow through it, through this pain, through this confusion, through this test, embracing it with your own love, penetrating through the pain, through the problems. And if it is in your women, opening her heart and body with your loving. Only through your persistence, fearlessness, and your loving service does the world yield to your efforts. The same is true for your women. Exactly. Like I've told man, women and the world is similar. Exactly is same. The same is true for your women. You are not trying to please her. You are learning to pervade the world, including her, with consciousness and love. This is powerful. This line in and of itself is powerful. That is what you are here to do. That is what you are here to do. That is why you are brought into this world. To pervade the world in love and your fearlessness and your consciousness, including with your women. The world will test you with dark, wild, and resistive energies, financially and spiritually and physically sometimes. For example, in the same way your women test you emotionally. If you hide your deepest gifts though from her in fear, you will also hide your deepest gifts from the world in fear. Exactly, this chapter is powerful. If you give up at a certain point with her, you will likewise only go as far in the giving of your gift to the world. If you give up at a certain point with your women, you will likewise only go as far in the giving of your gift to the world, because you are here to give your gift to the world. How is that? By living through your purpose, by contributing to the world. And if you are just like hiding your deepest gift from your women, then you will do the same with the world. You will hide your deepest contribution that you can give to the world out of fear, and the world will test you for it. You can either get better or you can either get bitter. It's your choice. Every single day you wake up, you get better, you get bitter. It's your choice. You can choose anyone, better or bitter, bro. Your women knows your weaknesses better than anybody. Maybe perhaps even better than you, because she needs to know your weaknesses in order for her to survive. Her survival depends on it. She knows where you will flatter. She knows where you will falter and give up. She knows the degree of mediocrity you will settle for. She knows what you will settle for. The level, the degree of mediocrity that you will shatter. That you will settle for. My throat is dry as I'm saying, bro. This is like the last paragraph. Let's get it done. And she knows your true capacity as a full man. A man of free consciousness and love. She knows your capacity, she knows your weaknesses as a full man, free of consciousness and love. Her gift, if she is a good woman, is to test you with her darkest moods. With her darkest moods. Okay, that is a gift. That is a blessing from the universe. That is not something to, get annoyed at. That is not to be something to get angry at. Because her gift is to test you with her darkest moods on and on, over and over, over and over, until your consciousness is unperturbed by the feminine challenge. Okay, that is when she is a good woman. If she is a good woman, she's gonna test you with her darkest mood. If she's not like a good woman, a decent woman, she wouldn't even give a fuck about testing you. Okay? And you are okay. Let me say this again. This is like the second last line of this reading session, so this is something to be repeated again. Her gift, if she is a good woman, is to test you with her darkest moods over and over and over until your consciousness is unperturbed by feminine challenge and you are able to pervade her with your love, just as the way you pervade the world. Just as the way you are here to pervade the world. In response to your fearless consciousness, she will drench your world in love and light. She only responds to your weaknesses, to whatever you lack, to your fearless consciousness. Where is your consciousness at? Where is it lacking? She will test it. Boom. And then we're done. We're done with this session, reading session. Bro, I completed this fucking shit here. Part 5, your dark side. Let me just summarize this because Let me just also, revise as well as memorize. Not in a way memorize, but understand the concept as I teach. So you are always searching for freedom. It's essentially the lesson here is that you shouldn't hide from your desire to gain the true freedom. You shouldn't hide it and suppress it by only getting the small freedom. Because chapter number 35 is saying that you are always searching for freedom as a masculine man. Don't just settle for anything less like orgasm release. Settle for something more like financial gain. Settle for even something more like winning a sport or winning a something competition. And even more, settle for the release of freedom that you get from stress by dissolving your fear of death. That is the ultimate freedom that you can get. Ego death. Chapter number 36. On your darkest desire. Do not suppress it. Because if you suppress it, your energy will not flow freely. You wouldn't be like as much as living to your best self as you would if you don't suppress it. Now you will have these dark fucking desires to fucking even rape a woman, to even like entertain the thoughts to. But your desire shouldn't be acted upon depending on the situation. It shouldn't be acted upon for everyone's good. In majority, 99.9% of the cases, it's for you to understand it with your deepest wisdom, with your wisdom as a man that you have. Hmm. Hmm. You must be boundless. Okay. This chapter is about being boundless. Owning your darkest desires. Owning your darkest desires, not just suppressing it. And this is you, this is your dark side. You're only behaving like a civil person, a good boy in front of your teachers, your friends, but it's only when you dissolve these two, your dark desires with all those weird fantasies, and find a sweet spot that you begin to recognize a greater self that is none other than you, your conscious self. That is when you become more charismatic, courageous, out of fear, no fear, no fear at all. Courageous, loving, open to everyone, having this openness of heart even though it hurts. Living with an open heart even if it hurts. That is like I think the second chapter of this book, or like first part of this book, A Man's Way. Chapter number 37 is that she wants the killer in you, that she wants to know that you have the capacity to kill. Not necessarily to kill, but she wants to know that you don't have the fear of that you are ready to die anytime for the sake of love. She's gonna be turned on by that rather than just being scared of that and being a pussy. That's gonna turn her off. She wants to know that you have the capacity to kill and even kill if necessary. But she don't want you to be a killer, murder someone or something. But she wants to be getting turned on by your capacity to do so. And if you lack that capacity, bro, you're a fucking pussy. You're a new age modern man who don't know how to kill. And it doesn't even take long time to learn how to fight, learn how to punch, throw a punch, a proper punch, get in shape. It's easy. Huge benefit. Know that you can bring out the love, dramatize your idea. Don't just tell her that, oh yeah, don't be angry. No, dealing with the dark side, our dark side, and how even the feminine energy